Sara, as we kick off the community update, we're down here at the Tomah Public Library talking with Irma Keller. Irma, I asked you off the air how many years you've been head librarian down here, and you very honestly said you don't know, right?
It's been a long time. I feel that I've been here, I don't want to say forever, but it's been wonderful. So I guess I'm not keeping track because it's just been so wonderful.
Obviously, you've seen a lot of changes.
I have.
Biggest change you've seen since you started?
We have gone through and we have culled our collection. So we've actually physically put hands on our, and I'm going to speak to the nonfiction collection. We've actually gone through every single book and to determine whether or not it's something that is worthy of shelf space. Is it something that's valuable to the community? Is it something that needs to be updated? So that's huge. And we haven't had the kind of time to do that in the past. What has been, we turned lemons into lemonade with COVID. We used that time where we were not able to have people in the building. Even though we were providing services for people, they weren't able to come into the building. So we did use that time quite wisely by going through and reevaluating our collection.
So as we sit down in January 2023, is there a particular type of book people come in that want that it's constantly out? Is there a type of book that people are really into in 2023?
Well, there's kind of what I call the flavor of the week or the flavor of the month. There will be hype. People will get a hype. A book will get a lot of hype, a lot of press, and those are the ones that people hear about, so they want to come in and look for those books. And normally it's a fiction book.
If somebody came in and said, hey, there's a particular book I'd like, you don't have it, can you try to get it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We have ways.
I imagine that's probably happened.
It happens all the time. We have special librarian ways where we can try to find a book, and if another library has it, we have borrowing privileges, so we borrow books from other libraries, and other libraries borrow books from our library.
All right, before we talk about a lot of new stuff going on down at the library, I know that's what you want to touch on. Also downstairs, if people are into DVDs, boy, you have a ton of that, don't you?
We do. We have a lot of movies. We try to keep very current with movies, so we have a lot. And again, we can also do the same thing with movies that we do with books. So if it is a film maybe that you saw quite some time ago and you want to see it again, you can't get hold of it on a streaming service, you can always ask us, and if possible, we'll bring it in from another library for you to see.
And ironically, as we're sitting down, Irma, 2 nights from today, you're having Thursday night movies for grown-ups, and that's been going on for a while, and that's been going pretty well, hasn't it?
It has been going pretty well. That's one of the services or one of the programs we have for adults that we're very happy to bring to our community. We try to show a variety of films, so it's not always going to be the same. Some of the films that we bring in are a little cutting edge, so hopefully people are able to appreciate them and maybe see something that they wouldn't have gone to the movies to see, but they can come here, and we like to discuss, sometimes we'll discuss them with the people afterwards.
Now, who makes the decision, like for the one coming up this Thursday night, who makes that decision what movie you're going to show?
So we have an adult librarian, Cinda Thomas, and she will choose the movies. Now, we are limited to what movies we can show by whether or not we have licensing for them.
Sure.
So we have a library license that we purchase every year, and a lot of films are covered under that. There are some films that aren't covered. However, you could get what's called a one-time license, but that's $100 for each one. So that can get pretty expensive. We try to stick to the movies that are covered with the license that we pay for annually.
Why do you pick Thursday night to show the movies?
Well, Thursday evening we're closed, so that's perfect. That way we can just have the movie downstairs, have it as loud as we want, not have people being disturbed by having programming.
And for people that maybe have not been a part of your Thursday night movies, It's a pretty nice setup, isn't it?
We like to think it's pretty nice. We serve popcorn and water, and we have very, very comfy chairs and a screen that comes down, a huge screen that actually drops down from the ceiling.
Right, we're talking with Irma Keller, the head librarian down at the Tomah Public Library. Irma, let's talk about, as we talked in early January 2023, a lot of new stuff going on, a lot of things you want to talk about, so the floor is yours.
Okay, I just want to make sure, even though it's not new, but I do want to remind everybody that we have programming for children. And so on Monday nights at 6 o'clock, we have story time with the famous Mr. Dave.
He does a great job with the kids,
He does
doesn't he?
a great job.
Yeah.
He really, really does. Tuesday at 10 and at 2, we have 2 other story times. So you can come Monday, you can come Tuesday at 10 or 2. And on Wednesdays at 10 o'clock, we have baby time.
Okay.
So you can bring your baby here, and Mr. Dave does a story time that's specific towards babies. So that's kind of cool. So don't forget about those. You can come with your child or your grandchild, or if you're babysitting a child, please come on down. It's just wonderful. I actually know somebody who started bringing their child when their child was 6 months.
Wow.
And now they're in high school.
Really?
Yeah.
So the bottom line is you really have something for people of all ages, don't you?
We try. We really try. And I'm of the belief that if you don't like to read, it's because you haven't found the right book. So I always take that as a personal challenge. If somebody says they don't like to read, I think to myself, let's find a book for you.
I know every month when you go before the council, you like to talk about numbers, and they're pretty impressive, aren't they?
We're happy to see them coming up after COVID. So COVID threw everybody for a loop. So we're happy to just see them going up since COVID. Yeah, we're happy.
Now, I myself take advantage of the computers down here a lot. How many people use your computers?
Oh, I'm sorry, Greg. I don't know, but it's a steady stream of people coming in, whether it's somebody who doesn't have a computer or doesn't have internet access or doesn't have a printer. So we get quite a few people who come in here and have computer access, but they don't have a way to print their items, or their materials, whatever they need to print. So they come in here, they do the printing. It's fairly inexpensive. It's
Sure.
10 cents for black and white, and color is more than that, but it's primarily people who are coming in here to use black and white printing. At 10 cents a page, I think we have the lowest price in town.
Oh, I think so. And periodically when I come down to Irma, there's people sitting in their parking lot in their vehicle, and they're using your Wi-Fi, aren't they?
They are using our Wi-Fi. One thing that I would like to explore is getting some hotspots throughout the community. I know that other libraries do that, so that will be something that we'll be looking at this year to see if we can establish some hotspots where people could use the library's internet at different locations.
Well, we talk about the programming downstairs that Dave does. Any other stuff we should be talking about?
Okay, we do the story. Oh, Mr. Dave is going to be doing, in conjunction with Freeze Fest, he'll be doing a movie here.
Okay, and that's
So-
ironically going on this weekend as you and I talk.
Yes.
Okay.
So
When is the movie going to be?
I believe it's Frozen,
Oh, okay.
but since that is that, can you call us at the library just to be sure?
Okay, so but it is going as Freeze Fest is coming up, so just
Yes.
call down here for all the info.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
All right, a lot of new stuff going on. Anything else we should be touching on before we move on to other stuff?
Not now, Greg, but if
Okay.
I think of something, I'll rudely interrupt you.
All right, down the road, hopefully by spring, you're going to have a new sign outside, aren't you?
Yeah, that's the plan.
Yeah.
We have been thinking about getting an electronic sign for the library for a few years, and with the approval of the Library Board of Trustees, they voted to go ahead and get the sign, and that should be coming this spring. and what that will enable us to do. We realized during COVID that we didn't have a good platform for letting the community know what we had going on. It was especially unfortunate that we weren't able to let the community know that during COVID, even though the building was closed, we were still providing services. So we tried to get the word out, but I think that COVID was so chaotic that people just weren't aware. That let me know that we really needed to have some way to advertise. And so that's what this sign will do. It will let the community know what we're doing when we have the movies, when we have story time, when Greg Hagen's birthday is.
Oh, yeah.
We'll be putting that out on
yeah.
the sign, so
Yeah,
people can let, people can be informed.
Okay, so if people are wondering where's this sign going to be, it's going to be where your current sign is,
Yes,
correct?
we're going to incorporate the current sign with the new sign, and I have seen, we're working with the La Crosse Sign Company, so they had mock-ups of what it will look like, and I think we will all be pleased.
Just out of curiosity, Irma, in a typical year, how many books do you read?
Well, I've got to tell you that I don't have a lot of time to read.
Okay.
I listen to audiobooks. I'm
Okay.
constantly listening to audiobooks, and I'd like to recommend audiobooks for people who maybe don't have the time to read or maybe have problems reading. I love audiobooks. I can't tell you enough how wonderful they are. And you're able, actually, I want to let you know that you are able to check out audiobooks using a service that we have called Libby. So you can go online, and we can help you to do that, but you can go online and you can find books, and frequently those books are in audio form. They're also, you can read them on your tablet or your computer, but many of them you can listen to them on audio. So highly recommend that. I can't say enough about that.
And a lot of people do that, don't they?
But some people...
I know I have a lot of truck drivers that
Yes,
I have a lot of
absolutely.
friends that are truck drivers
Yes.
that do that a lot.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, as we wrap it up with Irma Keller, the head librarian down at the Tomah Public Library, you're not alone. You're surrounded by a pretty good cast down here, aren't you?
I am very fortunate. I have Mr. Dave, as you know, who is the young adult children's librarian, and I have Cinda Thomas, who's the adult librarian, and I think we work together real well as a group to try to figure out the direction we want the library to go in, and even something as simple as determining what we want on the shelves or what needs to be on the shelves to best serve our community.
Let's jump back to last month. You didn't have it for a while because of COVID, but you had your annual Christmas tea.
Yes.
And that went very well, didn't it?
It went very well. I forget the dollar amount that we made, but I want to say $5,000, and that is just amazing. A community effort, number one. Marge Gigas and the Friends of the Tomah Public Library, that is a lot of work that they do to bring that event together every year. So we're very pleased with them. Thank you, Friends of the Library.
Yeah. I guess out of curiosity, a lot of people, some people may think it's just Tomah people that use your library, but I know you know the numbers. There's a lot of people that do not live in the city of Tomah
Yes.
that use this on a regular basis, don't they?
Many people. So when you think of people in the township surrounding Tomah, LaGrange, Byron, people in Oakdale, people in Camp Douglas, people in Sparta, we have people from La Crosse coming here, people from Viroqua, so people from all over come and use our library.
And I know that when I've been here, people have come in looking for a particular book that maybe at the time you don't have, and you can reach out to other libraries to try to get it, can't you?
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
So in the time you've been here, Irma, we don't know how long you've been. You said that at the beginning.
I've
but
been
you
at the library for 25 years. I want to say maybe I've been head of this show 15.
And when you go to the council meetings, you always tell the council members to read a book, don't you?
I try to get everybody to read.
Yeah.
Greg, can I
Yeah.
suggest something for you?
Sure, go right ahead.
Let me think about it. I want to find the exact right one.
All right, Irma, anything else we should be talking about as we wrap it up?
Again, can't think of anything right off the bat. I think we've covered a lot. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Let's do this again.
Yeah, our plan for 2023 last week, we had on Tomah Police Chief Scott Holm. Next week, we're going to have on Tomah Fire Chief Tim Adler. The department heads, people want to see you guys. They want to know what's going on. So we certainly will do this more than once, and we'll do it down the road a little bit if you don't mind.
I'd love to do that. This is wonderful. I love having this opportunity to talk about the library.
Irma, thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, as the update continues, we talk with Tomah Park and Rec Director Joe Protz. Joe, you've been here quite a few years, haven't you?
Yeah, since May of 2009. So it's been going great, and time's flying when you're having fun for the city of Tomah.
All right, main thing we want to talk about, 13th Annual Freeze Fest, and that's coming up starting January 30th. A lot of stuff going on, isn't there?
Yeah, it's our annual Freeze Fest. We help out the Tomah Rotary Club. It's a fundraiser for the Tomah Rotary. In return, they do a lot of projects in our parks, trees. We're working on that project at Winnebago for the Rotary Plaza, and they've been a great partner with different donations throughout the city for our park system. So we work with them on logistics and setting up events for them and cleaning up, but a lot of it's through volunteers with the Rotary Club as well. So I'm working a lot with Deb Reed from the Rotary Club and their members. But it's our 13th annual Freeze Fest. A lot of similar events, a few new ones. We've gotten different businesses in Tomah on board with give us discounts with a Freeze Fest button. What is it is kind of a weekend to just get people out and about town here in the city of Tomah. We don't go too overboard with things, but just kind of a nice little community event. We try to get people out and about during the winter months. So on January 30th, we kick off with the medallion hunt. That's always a fan favorite for the community. This year, you win $300 if you find the medallion. Clues will be on Tomah Rotary Club Facebook page for all information. Go to Tomah Rotary Club Facebook page for events and up-to-date information for that. So that kind of kicks off the event, and we'll have information on the City of Tomah website as well as the Tomah Rotary Club for all the events. So I don't sit here and go through a few here. Then the senior center's on board again with bingo and euchre on Friday, the 3rd. There's a little charge with that. All the events, we want individuals to have a Freeze Fest button, and I'll get to the winners of that a little bit later. But it's just kind of a thing. It's $1, but some activities have a few more, like euchre and bingo have some more minor fees for those events. Friday night, there's a snowshoe and cross-country ski like we do at Winnebago Park. For 5 to 7, we have volunteers from the Tomah Health that help check out the skis that the school district allows us to use and snowshoes. We usually have a path across Lake Tomah. Weather permitting, we're open to have that again, or otherwise we'll have something, on the trail or whatnot for users. Saturday, the events include, this is our second year that Deb's trying to remote control car races at Recreation Park Rec Building. That's an event we could do, the weather is snowing or what's inside. It's free with a Freeze Fest button. Bring your remote controls from home. I know a lot of kids have remote controls, cars, trucks. Bring them and you get to drive them around the big facility, the rec building, and they have prizes and whatnot. That evening, there's an open skate Tomah Youth Hockey is putting on. That's 6 to 8. It's free with a Freeze Fest button. Otherwise, it's $3 for youth and seniors or $4 for adults. So you're getting if you get a button, which is $1, you're saving some there to come to the Ice Center and open skate from 6 to 8 Saturday, February 4th. Again, Saturday, February 4th, the Rotary Club is doing a fundraiser for Families Promise of Monroe County, Family Promise. They're doing a chili cook-off. That's 12:30 to 2:30. If you want to get a chili in that, call Deb Reed at 608-344-0947. And there's different donations and stuff, silent auction items. This kind of giving back to different groups and seeing what's out there in the community. So that's a nice little fundraiser to try and do for Family Promise in Monroe County. We have some virtual events, ice fishing throughout the week, sculpture contests, so things you can do at home, Lake Tomah, other week with your family. Go online, submit your photos with a Freeze Fest button, and there's some prizes for the best sculpture or biggest and smallest fish, so things you can do on the weekend on your own to be part of Freeze Fest. This year, Deb went out to the community. There's weekly specials. If you have a Freeze Fest button, they'll be at Fantastic Sam's, The Pines, Sacred Space, Mandy's Cafe, the Break Room, Tap House 20, the Station Floral and Gifts. So there'll probably be information on Rotary Club's Facebook page. Just trying to see what else. There'll be some deals if you have a Freeze Fest button. We want to try to sell the Freeze Fest buttons throughout that week for Freeze Fest. The library's working on Thursday evening doing a kids' Frozen movie. That'll be part of it too, to get out and watch Frozen at the library. And like I said, all the events here is just a little fundraiser for Rotary that in return helps us with our park system and different projects with that. So so the winner this year Freeze Fest button, you can see here, is Fox kind of sleeping with the winter theme. The winner was a 8-year-old actually from Lemon Wire School, Caden Naduzik. So he'll be getting a prize Friday night. We do a little presentation at the snowshoe event at Winnebago at 5 o'clock. We'll hand out our plaques for winners. Our winner in the age 9 to 12 was Felix Hansen from Lemon Wire. Age 10 had a snowman design, and they'll be on display at that event. And for 13 to 17, a walrus design was from Margaret Ashburn from Tomah Baptist, age 13. So nice variety of winners there. Mr. Hood with the school district does a great job with Lemon Wire, and some other elementary schools submitted over hundreds of designs for the Freeze Fest button. So nice little activity for the kids to do in the winter as well for that. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. Like I said, all the information on TomahRotaryClub.org or Tomah Rotary Club Facebook page. So we invite the community to come out and have some fun.
So as far as the button winners and anybody that submits something, all the kids, over 100 kids submitted something, it sounds like. Are you a part? Are you part of the? Who makes that decision who the button winner is? Are you part of that?
We collect them here at the Tomah Parks and Rec Department, sort them out in their age categories, and then we turn it over to the Rotary Club, and they have a group that votes on the different winners. So Jeremy Hahn from Edward Jones, he's been a great sponsor over the years for the button design contest. So he's part of it. So there's a group of Rotarians that pick out the winners each year. So
The one thing you don't have, Joe, I know you've had in the past at Freeze Fest, I don't see it unless I missed it, you don't have music, right?
No, they've tried many years to do some sort of band or things at night. We didn't have the turnout we were looking for, so we tried to do things more during the day. Throughout the community, people pop in, this and that, and then, winter, still people busy in evenings with ball games or events and this and that. So, we try to put on Freeze Fest with very small budget. That's why it's nice to have the sponsors and stuff, and the cost of putting on some music events and stuff. And then if you don't get the turnout, then it's for what it's worth there. So
Let's talk about your event sponsors, because let's talk about the event sponsors that are really making this happen.
Yep, well, we talked about Rotary and the Parks and Rec. Edward Jones, the button design contest winner. Keen's Transfer has been a great sponsor. Magnum Media with their promotions on the radio. Mecca Sportswear helps us out with the buttons. Monroe County Herald with the press. Tomah Chamber and Visitors with donations of Tomah Bucks. Tomah Health with volunteers for the snowshoe. And then Tomah Youth Hockey Association for their putting on open skate events. So we thank you, Hagen Sports, for coming today and putting this out on the airwaves as well too. So,
all right, bottom line, to be part of Freeze Fest, you need a button.
correct.
How do I get a button?
So buttons should be on sale in the next few days, but they'll be out all throughout the week of Freeze Fest.
Okay.
You can get them here at City Hall, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Monday through Friday. They'll be available at the Chamber Monday through Friday, the week of Freeze Fest, from 8 a.m. To 4:35, I believe they work over there. Friday night, you can, after the week's over there, the buttons will be available Friday night at the Snowshoe event from 5 to 7 at Winnebago Park. The library may have a few throughout the week, and then the Senior Center will have some buttons for their event for euchre and bingo. So those are the main stops to get a Freeze Fest button.
So it's that simple.
Yep.
Very, very simple. All right, heads up down the road. A lot of changes going on at Winnebago Park people are aware of. A lot of changes going on with new ball fields down the road. And just a heads up, something you and I are going to look at, Joe, down the road when the weather gets nicer. Kind of go to Winnebago Park, talk about down there, talk about the new ball fields, but that's yet to come down the road, right?
Yeah, this is going to be a big spring for the Parks Department, the Parks and Rec. We're kind of in the middle of the Winnebago Park project. The winter season caught up with the contractors, so forth. So hopefully early spring we'll finish that up. The roadway's completed. The boat launch is pretty much completed. We just need to put the boat launch. We just need to put the dock back in there for that. And then the main new thing is just completion of the bathroom at Winnebago Park, and then the completion of the plaza. It's prepped. We just need to pour the concrete plaza and then put the music instruments in, and benches and tables and planters for flowers and stuff to really, and then we got to do some tree planting and replace some trees that we have moved for that project. So that project, hopefully spring we can get that nailed down and finish up for the community use, Memorial Week and on. The ball fields, we're just working on finalizing documents to send out for bids. So this spring, hopefully, we can get things really moving spring, summer, and get the ball field complex out on Eagleson, Flair Avenue going. With hopeful, our goal is to play ball in spring of 2024, spring, summer 2024. So about a year and a half away from completion on that project. So we got some other things in the work in our community too, but those are the big things we really want to get completed and going on here the next. Winnebago here the next this spring, and then the ball fields the following spring for the community.
Looking ahead, somebody had asked me, Joe, now that I think of that, when the new ball fields are said and done, will there be lights there?
Yep, we're going to be bidding out for 2 fields with lights, one for sure to get going, and then the other one will have bid out for lights, but an alternate if we couldn't meet the budget for that, but eventually stubbing for future lights. But we would definitely want to have one ball field to replace Glendale with lights, because that's a major need to be able to play in the evenings, especially in the spring and in fall, for our leagues and youth programs out there with lights.
So as we sit down in January, a lot of stuff going on at Recreation Park going on almost for the next couple, 3-4 months, right?
Yeah.
Very busy place.
We're booked at Rec Park pretty much through this year.
Yeah.
We have one, maybe 2 weekends available, and even next year, 2023 is filling up for next fall and winter. I mean, we have events that come yearly, gun shows, rabbit shows, auctions, and so forth. Then we have community events that use the facility that are annual, and then we have the outside of that. We have Tractable and Fair that have their weekends, and then outside of that, it's open for weddings and so forth, and we're getting pretty booked up solid out there. But I think we only have, in the next 4 months, one Saturday, Sunday that's open. That's in April. So
Again, Joe, keeping in mind our main topic was Freeze Fest starting January 30th through February 5th, but as long as it's on my mind, there will be some renovation to the hockey rink, correct?
Yeah, currently we're working on an expansion of the ice center. The council approved us to work with Keller and Corp on the design and bids for that. We're finalizing with Tomah Youth Hockey some final designs, and hopefully in the next month or so we'll be putting that out to bid and getting that project. So there will be some possible construction this spring, summer, fall at Recreation Park. We're looking to add some updated locker room facilities for that facility, and some storage and off-ice areas for not only their use in the winter, their season, but also for us for storage and things. So just expanding that facility to open up opportunities for different user groups in that facility. Some updates.
Is this going to affect either Tractable or the fair?
We will have that in the stipulations that, you know, not a lot of work should be done during those events. I mean, this year, what could be affected if we have to knock out some blacktop to get the utilities, the water, the sewer, but we'll just have to cover those up during those events. So I mean, there's some areas that could be gravelled or recycled asphalt that was blacktop, but we have to knock it out to get to the utilities to hook up the new water and electrical to this new addition.
So as we wrap it up with Park and Rec Director Joe Protz, we talked about Freeze Fest, a lot of other stuff coming up down the road. January, middle of January right now. What's Park and Rec? What keeps you busy this time of year, Joe?
Well, we got some programs going on. We got our Park and Rec youth basketball on Saturday mornings. We got over 120 kids, first through fourth grade, do a little Park and Rec skills and scrimmages. We have our adult basketball league on Wednesday nights. We have 14 teams for that throughout the area. We got some teams that travel from Dell's Lacrosse that play in our league, so we got a pretty good adult basketball league, very talented this year. We have women's volleyball on Sunday. We have a league. We have open gyms on Sunday. We have some pickleball programs periodically throughout the week at Rec Park if there's not a booking. So we got our programs going, and then we also we're working on these in-house here, these projects, trying to finalize designs and stuff to get out to bids for those projects. And then we're starting the process of trying to look at summer programming, and then also seeing who will be coming back for our staff for the aquatic center. Try to get a little ahead of the game this year for that, because last year we struggled with staff. Everybody knows, with the pool for lifeguards. So next couple months we'll be trying to get that going as well. So.
And on behalf of people that run and walk, I've talked to a lot of people. They appreciate the fact you try to keep the walking, the trails, like the one that goes by right down Superior Avenue, so they can walk on it, run on it, that type of thing. And I know that's a priority of yours to try to make that happen in winter, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite the chore actually. With our, we have limited staff for the Parks Department, but we have decent equipment. It just takes us a while. Our goal is to obviously get the main fairway sidewalks that we maintain first, and then the trail. Last couple of years hasn't been too bad, but this year we've been dumped on. It's been heavy, so my staff has been doing a great job with that. But it's a lengthy process, because if we go on the trail, like on some of these areas next to the highway, we'll do it, snow remove, and then they'll come and clear up again, and keep pushing it wider, so then we have to go back and do it. But our goal is to try to keep those open as much as we can for the community, because I've noticed a lot more lately too. A lot of people are using them, whether it's out to get out to Moulters, that sidewalk we do over there that gets to Moulters, out towards, like you said, out towards Ace in that area. And
up
then
the
just
post office,
all sorts of users early in the morning. So just bear with us. We try to do the best. The big struggle is down behind the former hospital and the Mayo Clinic. It's just tough there where they push snow, and that's been our struggle. So hopefully get that cleaned up in the future. And we appreciate people using the trails. That's what they're for, is to get out and about and be able to walk and exercise in the winter. And just taking a walk clears their, mind, and it's a good way to get out of the house in the winter, use our trails.
You guys are staying busy, aren't you?
Oh, we're pretty busy year round. Like you said, a lot of people ask, what do you do in the winter? Well,
exactly.
We got our programs, that's our planning stages, and then when we get dumped on, we get that, and then Rec Park, we're always booked out there, so it's a team effort out there to make sure that facility is ready to go. And there's something pretty much nightly out at Recreation Park, whether it's our building, the rec building. The ice center has full tilt of their activities, and then the exhibit building is full of gymnastics for middle school and high school gymnastics. So, our day is a lot of times getting that cleaned up, especially after the snow, to make sure all the three buildings, the users can get to the buildings, and it's nonstop. Weekends are nonstop out there. So, we go through a lot of product out there. Paul Steele's our new Rec Park maintenance, and said last week during Rabbit Show and hockey tournament, went through a lot of paper products, so just stocking everything, getting things up for the next turnaround for the next event.
We're talking with Joe Protz, Park and Rec Director. Our main topic was Freeze Fest, but we obviously touched on a lot of other stuff. Freeze Fest going on January 30th through February 5th. We'll visually show you generically some of the events going on for that, but if they need all the info, go to the Tomah Rotary website. That's for Freeze Fest. All the info is right there, Joe, right?
Yeah, Tomah Rotary Club Facebook page and website. we'll get on there, and we'll also have a link on our Tomah Parks and Rec website as well. So.
Joe, I appreciate you doing this on very short notice. I literally called you a couple of hours ago. Thank you for making it happen.
Yeah, thank you for all you do and everything for the community you do, Hagen.
Thank you very much. All right, as we wrap up the update for the end of January, starting next week, the first 2 Februarys in February, the latest ACT production, Getting Sara Married. And this is Andrea Ducklow. Now, you've played in some ACT stuff before we talk about your role here, but it's been a while since you've been in one, isn't it?
Yep, I think it was 2018, maybe, was the last one.
What attracts you to this show?
I read it, I was part of the play reading with it, and I just think it's a really cute story. It's fun, it's funny, and it's light, and the characters have a lot of life in them. And I wanted to work with Sharon and Lauren.
So you play the aunt in this production, correct?
I do.
Okay. And you're pretty much, I have not seen the show, so bear with me here, but my part, I understand you try to get Sara married. Is that the general consensus, or am I way off base there?
Yeah, I gotta get her married.
Why is it so important to get her married? Why is that so important?
Well, because, I mean, no one wants to walk the long road of life alone. Everybody needs somebody. You know, you gotta have somebody else there, because otherwise who's gonna take care of you when you get sick?
I would imagine it's a challenge at times, having not seen the show, to try to convince her. Am I way off base there?
No, you know, she needs a little help.
Uh-huh.
She doesn't focus on the guys very much, you know, so I'm just helping things along, just trying to find the right one for her, because she's just so busy. She's so busy. She doesn't think of these things, and she doesn't realize that before she knows it, time's going to get away from her, and she's going to end up an old maid. Nobody wants that.
I'm going to talk with her shortly. It's going to be interesting to see if a lot of the stuff you've talked about, if she goes along with that, that should be interesting to see. We'll find out shortly down the road, won't we?
Oh, we'll find out.
Okay. Wrap it up, favorite part of the show, without giving the show away, that you look forward to when it starts and during your future. I
just enjoy watching this cast. It's a very talented cast. My co-stars, you know, they're just amazing. It's been fun to watch the characters blossom, and I think people will really enjoy it.
It's not a huge cast, and you've been in productions that have been much bigger. Is it easier to work with a smaller cast from your viewpoint, or does it matter to you?
It's easier to work with a smaller cast in general, I think. But it's not about the size of the cast as much as it is how the cast gels together. So.
Thank you for your time. We'll look forward to seeing the first show come up in the near future next week. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right, it's called Getting Sara Married. It's the latest ACT production. It's first 2 weekends in February, starting next week. We'll give you more information when the show was, that type of thing, right after we do the interviews. But this is Sara. We just talked with Aunt Martha. You are the niece of Aunt Martha, and boy, it's huge to her to get you married, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. You wouldn't believe the amount of men that she tries to hook me up with. It's nonstop. But I adore her efforts. She's trying to look out for me. It's been a long ride of me just trying to focus on my career, so she's trying to focus on my love life, which at first I thought would be a great idea. I quickly learned it was not.
Outside of the fact she's trying to get you married right now, outside of that, if marriage wasn't in the picture, do you guys normally get along?
I would say we coexist quite well. She's always there to make sure that my life has all that entertainment value that I normally don't seek outside the office.
We should mention for a living you are a lawyer, correct?
Absolutely. I am married to the job, as you can think, but it's always got that rigid structure for me. I always can kind of figure out what to expect, and I know that I'm doing my best for my community by working in this.
What attracts you to this show?
To this show, I would say that it's got such a lovable bunch of people that are in it and that I get to experience in my day-to-day life, and it's a love story.
And we should mention you have been in one other ACT production, correct?
Yes, I have. I was in the musical Annie many years back when I was still in high school, and it was my only community play, and then I'm been out of theater for a while, and I'm so happy to be back in my hometown and enjoying every minute of it.
So is it a difficult transition to go from a musical to not a musical? Is that a tough transaction for you?
I think it has its pros and cons depending on how you go into theater. For musicals, you can sometimes memorize things better because it's got a tune and you always get that song transition to look forward to. Otherwise, a play, you can always be kind of hanging on the edge of the seat of what monologue might be coming up next for a character. It might not be in song, but it can still be poetic in its own way.
And I'm sitting here wondering, because I haven't seen the show, and I know you're not, I don't want you to answer this, but I'm kind of sitting here wondering if, when it's all said and done, if Sara does get married, but you can't talk about that, can you?
No, I cannot.
Okay.
That's
All
something
right.
for me to know and you to find out.
Absolutely. Favorite part of the show you look forward to when it starts next week?
Oh, my favorite part of the show? Oh, there are some pretty good one-liner jokes that Sara gets in there that you wouldn't expect her to make, but I think it really shows her inner character underneath all her layers of justice and professionalism.
Hey, thank you for your time. We look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, Noogie Malloy, another one of the cast members for the latest ACT production, getting Sara married. First 2 weekends in February, starting next week. How do you fit in this? How do you fit in this scheme?
Well, I'm the guy that you call
Okay.
when you got special needs and you got to do something maybe out of the ordinary. You give me a call.
I understand Aunt Martha. I don't know if hire is the right word, but Aunt Martha and you kind of get together. Is that fair assumption?
Well, she's a looker. And I saw her coming out of the club.
Uh-huh.
And she saw me and we talked a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And she told me she needed me for some specific services that I can do.
Okay, we don't really don't want to give away too much of the show.
No.
We can't do that.
No, these lips are sealed.
So let me ask you what I asked the other two cast members. What attracts you to this show?
Well, I got a call from the director.
Okay, all
I
right.
I just got out, I am on parole, and I got a call from the director. She said, hey, you need some work? And I said, yeah.
And you own your own company, don't you?
Well, yeah, it's Noogie Malloy Enterprises. Just started a couple months ago. I had to do it because I'm on parole.
Oh, how's business?
Very good, actually.
So do you have time to run a business and still be in this at the same time?
Well, you know, that's the beauty of doing acting. You know, I can do my
understand.
work during the day, and I can do the play at night.
Favorite part of the show you look forward to when it starts in the very near future? What's the favorite part of the show you look forward to?
Well, I think the favorite part is when I'm in the show and I get to talk to the people, look out in the audience, and let them know all about Noogie.
And this is almost back-to-back shows for you, isn't it? So you got your feet wet and you must have kind of liked it, right?
Well, I got my feet wet, then I got the call you can't refuse from Sharon. And
Okay.
I agreed to do it, and I'm having a ball.
Well, you're very good at it. You're very good at it. I'm glad you're back in ACT. And again, we don't want to talk too much because we certainly don't want to give the show away. But thank you for your time. We'll look forward to you on stage in the very near future. Thanks for your time.
That's right, and if anybody needs me, I'm in the book. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you. All right, America Fusianis. Very unique first name. I've never met anybody called America, but the bottom line is it's your first ACT production. Your husband's involved with a lot of ACT stuff. So does that come into play? Does he kind of talk you into this, or what's the story there?
Well, he's been trying to talk me into doing a play for several years now, but it was actually Sharon Larkin. She came up to me and thought that I would be good for this part, and I was a little shy, but I thought it would surprise my husband if I took the part, and I did, and I'm very happy that I did. Fun.
So we're about a week away from your first show. You had a chance to get your feet wet. Has it been everything you thought it would be?
It's a lot better than I thought it would
Okay.
be. I'm making good friends, and I'm having fun doing it. It's very enriching and fulfilling. So.
Now again, getting Sara married, we don't want to give the show away, obviously, but talk about your role in this production.
Well, my role is Heather, and I'm engaged to Brandon.
And we're going to meet Brandon next.
Yep, you're gonna meet Brandon next.
Okay.
And, he bought me an engagement
He did?
ring, and
Okay.
yeah, so we are gonna get married in a few months.
Is this the type of show you're in right now? This is kind of, was there something about the show that made it easy for you to say, hey, I'm going to do it? Or was there something, we've kind of touched on this already, but there was something that really said it's going to be a no-brainer for me to be part of this one?
No, because I really didn't know what the show was about when Sharon asked me until I came to the reading.
Okay.
But when we read through the play script, it just flowed very easy. It made sense with the conversations between the characters, and it's really funny. It's a very funny play.
So we have to get through this one first, but do you see a scenario where now that you've got your feet wet, you might do this again for ACT?
Sure. Yeah, I could see myself doing this again.
All right, I've asked everybody else, I need to ask you the same thing. Again, we don't want to give the show away, getting Sara married, but when it starts next week, very near future, first 2 weekends in February, what's the favorite part of the show you look forward to?
Towards the end, there's a scene between Brandon and Sara. It's very comical, and I can't give too much of it away, but I can just say it's a funny part. She drops the tray.
So for somebody looking in right now, like myself, that's never been an ACT and have said, boy, I don't know if that's for me or not, if I'd enjoy it, what would you say to them?
I would say expand your horizon, push past any nervousness that you have about playing in a play, because if you can push through those barriers that hold yourself back, you're going to experience new friendships, you're going to laugh to the point of crying, and meet new people and form new relationships, and be a part of your community.
Did you have any acting background at all in high school? Any acting background at all?
Not at all. I
Wow.
think the last play I have ever done was 3rd grade.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay, well that's
way
acting,
back
yeah.
there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you very much for talking with me. I look forward to you coming up next week for the very first of 8 shows. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right, the latest ACT production, getting Sara married, starting next week, first 2 weekends in February. Joe Minnie, you wear a lot of hats, and you play the chiropractor in this one, don't you?
Yes, it's actually a stretch for me to be in this one. It's a, I wouldn't say it's a small part, but it's a neat little part. You know, it's just Sharon threw me in the last second, and I'm quite happy about it.
Okay, I think I could play your role because you don't talk, do you?
No.
So I think I could maybe handle that.
Yeah, as far as a lot of the plays I've been in, this one is about the easiest as far as remembering lines.
So do they come to you and say, hey, Joe, we've got a part for you. You don't even need to talk. I mean, that's a no-brainer. You'd say, I'll take it, right?
Yeah, I was like sold. No lines, I'm in.
All right, you've been in some other ACT productions, obviously. You've been in musicals, you're in Willy Wonka. How does this one differ from the other ACT stuff you've been in, Joe?
This is a little similar to the last roundup at the Guacamole Queens. I was in that.
Sure.
This isn't not as large of a cast, but there's a lot of key players that come in and out that add spice to the show, and it's those little comedic elements that come in and out, and it keeps the plot going. So it's very similar to that it's. There's different characters that come in and jazz it up for a little bit, and then
Sure.
they go away. And then,
As I mentioned earlier, you wear a lot of hats, so how do you find time to be a part of this?
well, I've gotten a lot less hats lately. So
Okay, all right.
so I happen to be pretty free during this performance, and Sharon heard that I was freed up, so she asked me to join up, and I happened to have the time available. So it was because it's been about 2 years since I've been in a.
Has it been that long?
Yeah,
I didn't realize that.
It's been well, yeah, I would say since good old fashioned rednecks.
Okay, wow.
Christmas, gotta add that word. It's been I'd say 2.5 years since I've done a production, so it's nice getting back into it, and I don't have to really dip my toe in too deep.
Sure. All right, I've asked everybody else. Let's wrap it up with you asking the same question. Favorite part of the show you look forward to when it starts in the near future?
I actually don't mind the parts where I'm in, where I'm actually
okay. That's fair.
I'm
That's fair.
pretending to be a chiropractor. It's like, I'm kind of like don't have a lot of resource material to fall back on for that, so it's kind of interesting how to dig into that. Even though it's a little role, it's like I still want to sell it.
So I was just going to ask you. I'm sensing you're not on stage a whole lot. Is that what you're telling me?
I'm only in the second act, so really
Okay.
you don't see me until second part of the show. But the show itself, it's hilarious from the first scene on, because it's like the narrative, it just keeps going and going and builds, and then I actually get thrown into it, and it's woven into the plot, and it all comes to fruition at the end, which is great. So.
And the one thing we haven't talked about with any cast members so far, I'm sensing this is a show for the whole family.
I'd say it's PG-13.
Okay. All right.
There's some adult themes interwoven in, but not too bad.
Joe, thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
All right, this is the last cast member for the latest ACT production, Getting Sara Married, starting running first 2 weekends in February, starting this upcoming week. This is Brandon. Brandon, we talked with your fiance earlier, so we know you're engaged in this production. What else can you tell me about your role?
Well, yes, I am engaged to Heather. I'm very excited about the wedding. I am a financial advisor, a very wonderful occupation, deal in stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. I know Martha. She's one of my clients.
I was going to say, Aunt Martha, you kind of get together in this, don't you?
Aunt Martha?
Yeah.
No.
Aunt Martha kind of comes in contact with you, correct? She contacts you?
She's a client of mine.
That's
Actually,
what I meant.
do some
Okay, I'm
financial
sorry.
advising
I
for her.
worded it wrong, but that's what I meant. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, you've been some other ACT stuff before. What attracts you to this one?
Well, it was the right time. I wanted to get back into acting again, and I got a phone call, and I thought, well, let's give it a shot. So, and I was excited to do it.
It's not a big cast. Is that a good thing?
I think so. I mean, yeah, I've never done one with a really large cast. Actually, no, I take that back. I've done Annie, which had a very large cast, but they're all fun. They're all enjoyable.
Favorite part of the show you look forward to when it starts in the very near future?
Probably just, getting through the whole thing, and it's so much fun, the whole thing, and I can't wait. I'm excited.
And when you tried out for Getting Sara Married, is this kind of the role you wanted? This the role you had in mind?
Yes.
Okay. And let's talk again one more time about people. I know you've been in some other ACT stuff if you touched on, but for people looking in that have never been in an ACT production, what would you say to them?
I would say it's an experience that they shouldn't pass up on. And if some people always think, well, I'm not an actor, but
Yeah.
really, you can get up on stage and do it, and it's so much fun. And the people you meet and the experience you get, it's a lot of work for, a couple months, but the experience you gather from it, it's amazing. And like I said, just the bonds that I've created with people through plays I've done. And when I first started, I thought, I'm not good at this, but let's try it. And it's just so much fun. And whether you're really good or not really good, it doesn't matter. It's just all about the experience.
Yeah, well, we talked with Pete earlier. Pete was just recently in an ACT production, and he's back again. So once you get in, you kind of get the adrenaline going. And you kind of like it, then, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And there's times throughout rehearsal that you have a bad day where your lines don't come out right, and you think, man, this is tough. But then the next day things flow, and it's just the best experience.
Okay, so wrap it up. I'm having a senior moment. Take me back in high school. I'm trying to remember. Did you do any acting in high school?
I did not.
Okay, I wasn't sure. Okay.
No, I didn't. I actually maybe like in grade school, but then it was Annie for ACT. They did Annie in 2014, I think.
Right.
And I got involved in that, and since then I've done a few. So it's been a fun experience.
Well, one thing I remember from you in high school, you were tall then, and you're
Yep.
still tall, aren't you?
Yep.
Hey, thank you very much. I look forward to your first show coming in the near future. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.
All right, this is Sharon Larkin directing the latest ACT production, Getting Sara Married. We've talked before about some of the shows you've directed. Sharon, the common denominator seems to be it's a show you've seen somewhere else, and then you kind of bring it to Tomah. And that's the case right here, isn't it?
Yes, this is one of the shows that we saw in Dubuque, Iowa, a couple of years ago. And when we saw it, I said to Terry, that show has so much more potential than what we're seeing today. And I just kept thinking about it and thinking about doing it. And so then we finally ordered the script and had a play reading, and everybody loved it. So that's how it took off from there. So I offered to direct it.
And you have a mix, the cast is a mix of some people with a lot of experience, and then you
Yes.
have some people with no experience, right?
When I had auditions, because we always have auditions, we just had a couple people show up, and it's always disappointing when that happens. You know, you envision having all these people lined up wanting to be in the play, and you get to choose the ones that you feel are going to fit the part the best. And then when you get such a sparse number of people, you start thinking, okay, who can I call? And of course, you make some phone calls, and some people are not able to do it, and others say, yeah, I'll come up. And I always say, I can't promise you a part. You have to come and read for me. So even though I know Andrea, who plays Aunt Martha, is a wonderful actress, she still had to come and read. And so did Brent, who plays Brandon. Each one came and read, even though they didn't come to the original auditions, and I didn't have only just 2 people that showed up for that.
Except for the chiropractor, he didn't need to read, did he? No.
This is the
no.
hardest role I
Yeah.
think Joe has ever played, because he can't say anything.
I would imagine, and I can't speak for Joe right now because he's not here, but I can imagine the fact that he doesn't get to talk maybe isn't as easy as it sounds. It's got to be difficult, right?
Oh, sure. And he does have an important part in
Yeah.
the show. You bet. But he's not on until the second act.
Oh, I asked Joe earlier, is this show for everybody? How would you answer that?
Oh, I think anybody could come.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, there's just a few innuendos that just nothing real suggestive at all. No.
It's a show, very honestly, I had not heard of. I don't think I'm in the boat by myself, so let's sell the public that's looking in right now. What should bring them to the show in the next 2 weeks?
They just need to come to see this show. It's so different from anything that we've ever produced. It's a romantic comedy, and you laugh from the very first scene. And it's the relationship between Aunt Martha and her niece, Sara, who's a young lawyer in New York City and wishes to remain single. But Aunt Martha has a different plan for her. So, as it transpires, it gets funnier and funnier. And it gets more and more complicated. And like Joe was saying, when you interviewed him, people are in and out, and there's a lot of
Yeah.
action. And it's so much fun. I can't wait for it to go on stage and people to come up here and just enjoy it. The actresses are doing a marvelous job. It's one of the best crews I've ever directed. They listen, and I'm very fussy as a director, and I warn them that when they start, and they're just so good. I'll just stop them, change something, and it's like Sara. I say, Sara, do such and such, or let's say it this way. Got it, she'll say. Got it. And it's a pleasure working with this cast. It's been fun.
How are tickets going?
I haven't even had time to check,
Okay,
Greg.
okay.
I hope well, and if the people that haven't gotten their tickets, get them, because you'll never regret seeing this show, and you'll never forget it. It's just a cute, cute story.
All right, in a few moments, we're going to just show little bits and pieces from the show, little teasers for the public to look at. Before we do that, we want to just switch gears for a second. It's coming up the end of March. It was very well attended the first time around. Second annual Mr. Legs contest, but this year it'll be at Murray's on Main, right?
Yes, we all grew. In one year, we all grew our banquet rooms. last year we had Taste of Tomah on the first floor from 6 to 7, and then Mr. Lake's contest from 7 on in the upstairs banquet room. And this year, everything is going to take place at Murray's. It'll still be Taste of Tomah. The different restaurants are participating.
Sure.
And we'll do that from 6 to 7 and then swing into the Mr. Lakes contest, which is a blast.
And one thing we haven't touched on since we talked, because we haven't talked for a while, the building is paid for now, isn't it?
Thank goodness. We had a wonderful benefactor, Harry Wellencotter, who had come to us about a year and a half ago now. And we still owed about $200,000, so he offered to do a matching grant. If we could raise $100,000, he would give us another $100,000, and we did it in increments.
Sure.
We didn't have to
Sure.
wait until he didn't wait until we had raised the full 100, but we did raise it. But each time we would raise like 15 to 20,000, he would give us that much, and we paid it off. And since then, we purchased the Shriner Studio building, which is directly across the street from our
Oh, of
parking
course,
lot.
yes, I did not know that.
And we have plans to take that down this winter and make a parking lot there. Because when we build, and we will build, a new theater here in our parking lot eventually, we will lose the handicapped and
Absolutely,
senior
yeah.
parking that we have now. So that way we'll have it directly across the street from the theater. That'll be really nice.
So big changes coming, aren't there?
But ACT is successful because we have people who come and buy tickets.
Yeah.
We people who get memberships. We have sponsors for our show, underwriters for our shows. We have people who purchase the ads for our program book, people who send in donations. They're always there. When we have a need, someone is always there. And right now our need is not only raising money for the new theater, but to raise $35,000 to tear the old
Sure.
building down across the street, which has actually become an eyesore for Tomah. So
people
hopefully will
looking in
help us.
can want to help you. What's the best way if they want to help you with that?
Send a check to Area Community Theater, 901 Kilburn Avenue, and in the memo put if they want to put it for the parking lot, which is going to be across the street.
Okay.
They can just write parking lot in the memo. If they want to put it toward the new theater, just put new theater in there. But come to the shows.
Sure.
Come up here and see what we're so delighted about. Tomah is so fortunate to have this theater. It's awesome.
All right, next thing we're going to see, as I said earlier, bits and pieces of the latest ACT production, Getting Sara Married, first 2 weekends in February. And we talked off the air when I first got here, and we really don't know what we're going to see because they're going to do the show. We're just going to wing it. So you're just going to pick and choose as the show goes on what we're going to see. So we really don't know what we're going to see right now, do we?
Oh, you don't, but you're going to be really happy with it, Greg. It's so cute.
Sarah, thank you for your time. Sharon, thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Greg.
Yes.
Sarah, it's Aunt Martha.
Oh, Aunt Martha, I was just going to call you.
No, you weren't.
Yes, I was.
No, you weren't.
Yes, I was.
No, you weren't.
Okay, fine. I wasn't.
Do I know you or what? I mean, right now you are probably slaving away over that stupid computer with a half-eaten tuna salad sandwich that was supposed to be your lunch.
Lucky guess.
Work, work, work. And for what?
For food, for clothing, for living in New York a couple of steps up above the poverty line.
All the while letting life pass you by. What you should be doing on that dopey computer is getting on some of those internet dating sites and trying to find yourself a soulmate. Well, your cousin Jennifer found her husband that way, and what a lovely man he is.
Yes, but before him, she found 4 serial killers. And Martha, I'd love to talk, but I have a case that's going to trial, and I do not want to go into court with a headache.
What about the judge?
What judge?
Well, the one you're going to try your case in front of.
What about him?
Is he single?
I don't know.
Well, is your client single?
My client is a low-life scumbag embezzler.
That's not what I asked. Think about the future, Sarah. You don't want to walk that long road of life alone. Everybody needs somebody, Well, and most of all, who's gonna take care of you when you get sick? Exactly. I'm worried about you, Sara. Left to your own devices, I fear you're going to end up an old maid. By the time I was your age, I was already married twice.
Look, Aunt Martha, I need to go. Unless there's something important.
Oh, okay, I'll get right to the point. I am determined that this year you're going to get married. So I have started the ball rolling on my own. Tonight, there's going to be a fellow named Noogie stopping by.
That's the beauty of New York. Nobody pays any attention to anything. You have your own privacy. Now, can I have you sign this receipt?
I said no.
Your aunt said that you'd be a very difficult person.
My aunt was being kind.
All right, listen. If you have any further need for my services, I'll give you my card. Noogie Malloy Enterprises. I'm kind of a jack of all trades. If I can't do it, it can't be done.
Well, Noogie, you're going to be doing 20 years to life if you don't get out of here right now.
Gotcha. It was nice to meet you. I guess a tip is out of the question?
Out!
Okay.
The paramedic said that your first meal should be something really easy, like oatmeal and herbal tea.
Oh, well, I can pick that up on the way.
No, I got it for you. I had it sent up from the deli around the corner. Oatmeal's just a matter of warming it up in the microwave, and the tea is just a matter of boiling water, which I think I've almost mastered.
You can't cook?
I probably can. I just choose not to. It never really interested me anyways. And besides, with all these terrific restaurants in this city, it's slowly becoming a lost art anyways.
Well, since our engagement, Heather has decided to conquer the kitchen. In fact, tonight she's preparing dinner for her parents and myself. She's actually making something from a cookbook. That kind of effort tells you a lot about a woman.
Yes, she can read. By the way, your phone rang twice in your briefcase last night. You should probably call Heather.
Oh,
Heather, listen, it's Brandon. I'm sorry about dinner.
Where are you? I've called and called and called. We've been waiting over an hour and a half for you.
You'll never believe it. I'm back at Sara's.
Who?
That 7-year-old woman whose place I was at last night. Listen, did you get my flowers? I was also going to stop and pick up a little gold bracelet for you. Heather? Heather?